Very good evening to everyone, and thank you for joining us for this press conference with Temba Bavuma. As usual, I'd like to just remind everyone to please put their request to ask a question in the chat panel, and to ensure that as soon as you're done asking your question, you mute your monitors. If you're not asking a question, please maintain the mute function on your monitors. We'll start with Nathan, followed by Ken Fidos, and then Kanyiso. Kanyiso, you'll ask your personal question at the end. Thank you.
Thank you, Sipokazi. Temba, firstly, congratulations to Knock. I think it was well needed for the side. For the next the next 2 days, how will you guys approach those 2 days, especially with you guys being 146 runs behind now, and then obviously for them to bat, and then obviously potentially in the last day it might rain as well.
Thanks, Nathan. Yeah, look, what's happened has happened in terms of the bowling and the batting. I think obviously coming tomorrow with the ball, that first session is going to be super key. I think that intensity that we brought today out there in the field in terms of the ball, that's the intensity that we're going to acquire. And hopefully, you know, there's a reachable target for the batters to kind of chase down. If we can't chase it down, obviously as the batters, we're going to have to knuckle down and make it super hard for the Indian bowlers.
Ken?
Thanks, Sips. Hi, Temba. Yeah, well batted. I guess the fact today that 18 wickets fell, and on the first day the score was 272 for 3. It's not a 272 for 3 pitch, is it? And I guess that's why the Proteas are behind in this game, because of that first day.
Yeah, look, I think the first day in terms of the wicket, you know, the wicket was on the slower side. I think obviously that there was still a lot more grass on the wicket. So the movement of the wicket wasn't as exaggerated. Looking at today, you know, where the wicket had a bit of sun, obviously the movement of the wicket, you know, was a bit challenging for us as the batters. And I mean, credit to the Indian bowlers, led by Mohammad Shami, that were really able to exploit all of that. I think in their first innings, they batted quite well, the Indian batters. They really applied themselves. They had one batter go in and get a big score that was able to put them in that commanding position. Yeah.
Fidos?
Hi, Temba. Temba, I just want to know, when someone like Shami is bowling the way that he was, what can you do? Like, how do you approach that? You know, like some of those wickets, it just looked as though there was nothing else the guys could do except get out, I guess.
Yeah, look, I mean, he's a world-class bowler. I mean, we've seen him do this around the world, so I don't think it's something that we don't expect. Obviously, as batters, we got to front up. We got to back our defense as much as we can. And if he bowls a good ball, you know, kudos to him. I think the one thing that we probably want to cut out in our first innings, in terms of our batting, is those soft dismissals. But I mean, if a guy is bowling good balls and is getting guys out, then credit to him.
Salford?
How's it, Temba? Well played. I'm just interested in Marco Janssen's reaction to taking you know, that wicket with the first ball today after having quite a tough time on the opening day. You know, what did he say, or what did you guys say to him when suddenly it looked a lot easier?
Yeah, look, he did have a bit of a tough start to his international career. He did confess that the emotions and nerves got the better of him. I think, you know, today, you know, you saw it with his batting. He was a lot more assured, and that confidence that we know him to have, that kind of shone through a lot more. He was obviously relieved that he was able to take a wicket off his first ball, and I think, you know, for him, we hope that he can go from strength to strength.
Stu?
Thanks, Sipokazi. Hi, Temba. I was just wondering, you know, the lack of test match play in the last 6 months, just how difficult is it for the players, for you guys, when you're coming up against world-class batters like we've seen from India and world-class bowlers like we've seen in this particular game? How difficult is it to make that adjustment?
Yeah, look, I mean, I don't want to be accused of making excuses for our play, but I think that does have an impact. I think if you looked at the way we played on the first day, as much as we had India 270 for 3, but I don't believe that that's the standard and that's the intensity that we know that we can play at. And I think, one of the factors is the lack of match intensity and match practice. You can have as many nets as you can, but nothing really simulates going out on the field. In terms of the fixtures, look, there's not much that we can do as players. I actually saw a fixture that said that I think England had played, we've played about, I think, 13 tests over 3 years, and England have played 13, let alone this year. So, there is that disparity in terms of the number of games. But like I said, as players, there's nothing we can do. And it's not an excuse. We got to make sure that mentally we have to find a way to be up for it when we're up against the challenge.
Guinness?
How's it, Temba? Just want to know, when you and Quinny came together at 32 for 4, how did you guys go about it? You put together quite a good partnership there. Did you change strategy in any way, or what was sort of the game plan during your partnership?
To be honest, Dennis, I think it was pretty much the same. Pairing with Quinny, there's not much real talking that happens, to be honest with you. But I think, whenever he's on the non-striker, he's making sure that I'm doing the right things. And I'm also trying to make sure that he's doing the right thing. I think intensity for us is a big thing. Quinny is obviously a free-flowing batter. And I think for him, it's all about him getting into that space where, he's getting into the right positions, hitting the ball where he wants to go. So in terms of communication, to be honest, there wasn't much. We knew what we needed to do. At 30 for 4, there's not much for one to say. And for us, it was to try build that partnership and try get some momentum back in our favor.
Are there any last takers for English before we move to Xhosa? Kanyiso, ungakhululeka bhuti.
Ndiyabulela, ndizabuza nje ibe bibini ke imibuzo. Bhayi, uqhoshe kakuhle kakhulu namhlanje, kodwa ke into azinabelanga kakuhle. Njengoba i-India nokwana ke ithande ukhawulela lo mdlalo ke naleli banayo. Ithini into xa inje nizawuzama uhlangula njani lo mdlalo njengoba beseniphulukene ke nosuku nxa yemvula?
Inkosi bhuti Khanyisa, igame ikhawulezile. Isimo sikuso ayisosimo si-strong thina siyi-South Africa, kodwa ke asijonganga ukunikezela. Siqonda uba into yango-session yokuqala ngomso ibaluleke kakhulu ukuba singakwazi ukufumana ii-wickets ezikhawulezileyo, singakwazi ubafaka under pressure, singabavumeli ukubana bafumane i-momentum, babeke isikoro sikhulu. Xa sendiyijonga ngeqela, andizukuthi ukubana siphumile kule game. Ithuba lisekhona, and as uba uyazi nawo kungenzeka naba yintoni na kwi-cricket.
And then osibini manje umbuzo ke bhayi man, ubaleke kanjani ukuba nifunde izifundo zinzima njengoba niqobise niqale e-India kuba eliqala libethe i-England kwaye labethe Australia kwaye kunyaka nje omnye, and abantu abaninzi bathi India zange yaphumelela apha kodwa kuyabonakala uba bazi leqela eliqilima. So izifundo enizithathayo njengoba lo mdlalo akapheli sembini kodwa nibona ngeziphi izifundo enizithathileyo nje kwakulo mdlalo?
Ibalulekile into yokubana i-India ungayiniki ithuba. Once uyinika ithuba iza kunyathela. If ndiyajonga kwezi ntsuku ezimbini esidlaleyo, zikhona into ekumele uba siyafuna njengabaqorhayo ubana, if uyajonga indlela baqorhe ngayo bona, balive kakuhle, la channel outside off stump, bayikhathalela kakhulu. And then in terms of ibhola, ibhola bayibeke kwi-area ye-right, as i-batters besingakho comfortable, bubufilishe ngathi yonke ibhola funeka uyidlalile. So ndingathi bana zizo ezimfundo kwangoku esizifundileyo, but izobe kubalulekile ukubana umdlalo wethu, umgangatho wethu siwunyuse, sifikelele kulaa mgangatho wabo.
Ndiyabulela bye.
Thanks very much, everyone, for joining us. We'll chat to you guys tomorrow.
Thanks, Temba.
Thank you.